your mama.
This is VRN, your trusted leader in e-motorsports. This is VRN, your trusted leader in e-motorsports.
Hey, welcome Vigilante Nation. Welcome back to the Vigilante Report here on Tuesday night. My name's Alan Vaught along with Ricky Wittenberg in the booth here, and we have a jam-packed show for you tonight. 5 segments we're going to go over. I'm actually going to review them with you ahead of time, so if you're out there watching, take note of some of the topics you may want to talk with us about in the chat. We will talk with you in real time, try to answer your questions, or just read your comments about the topic on the air. The more engagement we get, the better these shows are, so we appreciate you out there watching. So for segment 1, we're going to talk and review the Premiere Series, Chicagoland, and recap that particular race, which was an extraordinary race. Flag to flag, no cautions. We'll kind of talk about that again a little bit and give you a recap, video recap of that as well. So for segment 2, we're going to go over the Michigan Vanquish Series recap. Now, that was a much more eventful race. Lots to look at there and comment on. It's going to be a spicy recap on that one, so you should enjoy it. And then for segment 3, we're going to talk some controversy. The VRL Endurance Team Nitro controversy, specifically at Spa 24-hour endurance race that was ran this weekend. And we'll have a quick discussion with the driver involved, which was Mr. Dustin Wade. We'll have him live in the booth here tonight to kind of talk about how things went from his perspective and maybe answer some of your questions out there. So that's segment 3. And then for segment 4, it's going to be a recurring theme here on the Vigilante Report. We have the Beyond the Matrix segment, which we're going to talk about real world NASCAR topics. So take note of the topics in case you want to get involved in the discussion here tonight. We're going to talk about SVG, Sean Van Gisbergen, his road course and street course dominance. We're going to kind of dovetail that into, should we be changing the playoff system? Is it fair the way it currently exists? And then we're going to talk about Ty Gibbs Pit Road. Maybe a controversial incident on pit road at Sonoma this past weekend. NASCAR is not really going to look into it any further, but it doesn't mean that we can't talk about it here on the Vigilante Report. And then NASCAR, if you haven't heard that term coined yet, it's about the 2311 and Front Row Motorsports lawsuit. We're going to kind of talk about the updates that came out this week, the explosive possibilities about what could happen after Wednesday, so beginning tomorrow, between the teams and NASCAR. We'll get into that topic a little bit. And then finally, Ricky's going to go over the playoff bubble for the NASCAR Cup Series with us and give us his impressions of, who's going to be in, who's going to be out when it comes time to see who gets in to the playoffs on points. It's a very tight bubble right now with some contenders in the mix there. So I'm looking forward to that segment. And then finally, we're going to go over Lori, the admin notes for Lori for BRL, Vanquish, and some special shout outs that she has for us this evening. So again, 5 segments, We're going to talk about the two races we had this past week between the Premiere Series on Wednesday and the Vanquish Series on Friday. And we're going to get into those topics that real world NASCAR is grappling with right now. So, race fans, season 12 for the Premiere Series lit the fuse at Chicagoland. They had big moves, there was big stakes involved, and a pack of razor edge trucks going around that racetrack. And it was kind of unbelievable to me, incredible in fact, that the race went green from the green flag to the checkered flag without any cautions whatsoever. That doesn't mean we didn't have some close calls. We had the opportunity to have maybe one or two cautions in there, but those guys were super professional about it, able to keep those trucks underneath them at a track that really wears out the right rear tire and can get loose on you and snap around pretty quick, as we saw on the practice race on Monday night. But with that, we're going to, Ricky, go ahead and hit the recap for the VRL Wednesday Night Premier League. And I'm going to pause it as we go through as required so you and I can comment on what happened there. All right, Chicagoland. This was on 9 July. Jason Gaines got the pole for this race, and you had Craig Goodenough in second and Dylan Bryant rounding out your top three. Now, those top three starting spots, they were really the only ones in the hunt for the win since this went without cautions. No one else could kind of get an edge on them or maybe off cycle on the pit stops. We had a couple incidents kind of like this, Ricky, just a little bit of a bump or a wall scrape, and you see the 47 like missing pit road here that could have caused an issue with the 123, but ultimately didn't. Again, no more wall scrape and minor touching between these trucks, but they never actually end up going around. Austin Paul was the closest here in the closing laps. Yeah, you remember this one? We thought it was going to be a caution right at the very end there, but ultimately Craig Goodenough brings it home as your winner, besting out actually Jason Gaines, who had started on the pole. So that's how you just kick off a season. So Ricky, who stood out to you in this first race of the new season from your perspective? Hey, Ricky, hold on a second. Ricky, you there? I don't know why, but she's not. Yeah, we're not hearing you. Hold on one second. Must be some kind of an issue there as to why we can't hear you. We're gonna get that fixed before we carry on. Try it again, Ricky. No, it's not working. Doesn't make sense to me. Let me take a quick look at this setting. All right, try it now, Ricky.
Test 1, 2, 3.
All right, I think we have you now, Lori. If you can confirm inside of the chat there, if you don't hear him still. So I hate to ask you, Ricky, but can you go ahead and start over with that comment you were making?
Yeah, I bobbled it so bad the first time I get a second chance. Actually, everybody stood out, Alan. At Chicagoland, we go caution free the whole way. I can't remember how many trucks we started. Close to 40, and when you can start 40 trucks with iRacing cautions on and go wire to wire, that's pretty impressive. And like I was saying, if we go back to season 1 VRL race 1, I think it was Homestead, and I looked at the spread of the drivers from first to like 30th, and it was close to a second different from first to 30th. At Chicagoland, I think first to 30th was less than 0.3 of a second. So the fields have got much tighter, and that race was clean. And when you've got these guys that are on top of each other the whole race and don't wreck, that's impressive. I don't care where we're at.
Yeah, no, it's a deadly accurate take on where the field is at. I think it was 37 trucks, and it's in Lori's notes when we get to that later. But if I had to pick somebody who stands out, I would say two people, actually. I want to say Goodenough and Gaines, I think, have thrown their chips down to say, we're coming for you this season, to, the likes of Pope and Eaton and others who are consistently up front. If they keep that momentum up, the grid better watch out. But before we move on to the Vanquish Series and review that race, I want to take and share with the audience a moment some picks from the hardware that the VRL Cup champion and the contender champion were awarded for the end of season 11. And if I get that photo up here real quick for you guys, I want to say it was this one. Here we go. So these are the two trophies that were handed out to both the contender and the Cup champion. The one on the left is a contender, and on the right was the Cup. Now, Lori and I, we have decided, hey, each season from this point forward, this is going to be the hardware that's given out. And these are some robust trophies. They're heavy. They're made out of metal. They're not that normal plastic you might get from one of your more, contemporary trophy stores. So I think this came out. I think this is something that the league deserves. Lori wanted to make sure that this happened, and she went out there and picked out some of these trophies for these guys to share with them. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on closing out the season and, I mean, the hardware that these guys earned?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty impressive. I actually, I mean, as you know, I used to be a real track announcer at some local dirt tracks, and those trophies are nicer than some of the trophies they would give out for real race wins. And I would think if anybody ever broke into your house, go for one of them trophies and smash them over the head with it. They won't get far.
No, yeah, if you hit them with the base in particular, that thing is pretty robust. But yeah, we just wanted to share that with everybody, and so that the Vigilante Nation out there and also our drivers can see, hey, what's coming their way. They go out here and they best their competitors in the Premiere Series. So with that, we're going to move on to segment 2. We're going to go over Michigan and the Vanquish Series recap here. We'll get a look at that, and we'll probably end up having to pause this several times because there's a lot of action in this one, Ricky.
Yeah, that was a little bit different from the Wednesday night race at Chicago, but I would definitely say it was entertaining.
Yeah, right here you got the 99 truck of Albert Anderson. You know, he brings them to green. He's always really good at these places, and he just was out front for a lot of this race. And as I'm going to back this up just a little bit so we can see what happens here on lap 1 with Mr. Lawson on the 20 truck. He gets a little bit of a push there from the 88. Just goes around on lap 1. I guess they were just kind of getting settled there. You know, Michigan, you know, it has wide lanes. It's pretty wild swings, though, depending on which lane you're in and what part of the run you're on with your tires and everything. And this is round 8, so there's only 2 races remaining, ladies and gentlemen, of the season. You know, the Vanquish Series, they're not here just to cruise. They're here to crush souls, and they really showed that on Friday night. But anyway, so we're on lap 12, and we're looking at the 98 truck of Chrisman. He really gets the short end of this incident here, Ricky, as we watch this play out. He's kind of on the inside there, but man, he really took it in the wall right here. He had nothing he could do about that.
No, there was just somebody bounced off the wall. He was the inside truck, and it usually works out that way. When everybody swerves, the inside truck don't even know what's going on, and he caught the inside wall a ton.
Yeah, I'm glad this is that we race in the virtual world, because that would have been a neck snapper for sure. But we're going to move on here to the Nick Tucker incident here. This is lap 16 between him and Kelly Keel. I think Kelly got a little, the two of them touched a little bit. He just went around right there in a bad spot.
Yeah, they were lucky they didn't wad up any more trucks than they did, especially when somebody spins back to the outside on the straightaway. That's usually a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and this is so this next incident here, this was one that you made a short clip out of, Ricky. It was pretty funny. We were in the moment. We're saying, hey, this does not look good going into this corner. I hope they make it through. Don't know if we jinxed them or if it was going to happen anyway, but let's take a look. So this is lap 23 with Mayberry in the middle here. And Cawthon goes for a ride. Almost like a ballerina move, Ricky.
Yeah, I've got kids that dance, and that was definitely a ballerina move, and I wish I knew the technical terminology, but that was definitely something that looked like he was standing up and doing the ta-da at the end.
Yeah, probably not right. It was also like he was trying to pirouette from my vantage point there. But we're moving on. So there's an incident involving George Rincon and Tom Barish here. Forget what lap it is. It's going to tell us right here what lap we're on. 31. Looks like it was just a misjudgment by maybe the 35 truck thinking he was clear here, and didn't work out for him.
Yep, I believe he thought he was clear there, trying to get in before the trucks on the outside freight trained him, and he wasn't clear, and just spins around George, and we have the caution there.
I don't know if the 16 truck here, Kyle Vaught, was aiming for George, but he sure did hit him pretty good there, didn't he? Take a second look.
Yeah, Kyle was he was already having a bad night. He had a disconnect and tries to get back out there and just make some laps, and then gets caught up in that one.
So on this next lap here, you'll see Andrew Cawthon. I think he was on cold tires here. This ended up just kind of getting around on him here, lap 48.
Yeah, there's a place at Michigan in turn 1 and 2, especially if you're on the low side on cold tires, that can really get you. You see that happen a lot on starts and restarts.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this next clip is not about any accident or anything. It's just a demonstration on the incredible racing we did see all night and how tight it was, which, led to some of these incidents that we saw. There was not any reckless movements going on out there. Just the margins were so fine, and we're on board with Jesse Graham right here. We're going to switch camera views, but you can see a segment of this race where you had about 4, even 5 wide in this particular clip if you look close. Lap 78. We're about 4, 5 wide right there in that one segment. We saw a lot of that, Ricky, on Friday night.
Yeah, there was several times they were legitimately 5 wide, and I don't know how they got through some of those 5 wide situations.
So on this next clip, as we're going to transition again here, I think we're back a little forward. There's a little bit of controversy involved in this one. This is Mayberry, to the 29. He's a lap down. He was looking to get his lap back, and so he went under the 99. 99's already under the 38 truck here, so it's lap 98, getting towards the end of this race. And 99 wasn't too happy in the moment with the 29 rather of Mayberry, thinking that, why would he go 3 wide in that moment at the end of the race? But Mayberry was trying to get his lap back there and get back in contention.
Yeah, honestly, in the moment, I'm sure it definitely felt like the Mayberry shouldn't have made the move, but he was only 1 lap down trying to get his lap back. I think he had 2 or 3 lap fresher tires, which at Michigan actually is a big deal. And people talk about getting the lucky dog, and hey, why would you hang back if you're trying to get the lucky dog? But honestly, getting the lucky dog, you're at the tail end of the line if there is a caution. So getting the lap back naturally, you come all the way back around, and you're going to be in much better position on a restart late because there wasn't much time left. So I definitely see both sides of that.
Yeah, I mean, you got 99 up there intensely battling to win this race. And pretty much, maybe if we didn't even have that caution, he probably would have been in great shape to win it. And yeah, it's unfortunate. Let's see. Let's take a look at this next incident. We got lap 114. This is just carnage. I didn't even pick anybody out here, Ricky. You just wanted to show this is one of the incidents we had some late race carnage going on.
Yeah, and that was when right after the caution with Albert Anderson and Gones. And what happened there was we had guys that was on fresher tires, guys that was on old tires, and I believe you had even mentioned, but will the old tires present a problem for the fresh tires? And it did immediately.
Yeah, it's usually a recipe for some eventful racing when you got the mixed tires and mixed strategies going on in a restart late in the race. I hate to call it, but we've seen it so many times. It was a pretty safe bet that we were going to get this. And then, now I'm going to go ahead and go into the race winner here. This is the end of the race on Friday night. And this was one of the closest, if not the closest margin of victory, Ricky, that we've ever seen in our series. 0.009. 9,000ths of a second. You got Mike Adamson winning over the 99.
I think for the Vanquish series here, that may be the closest. I believe we may have had 1 or 2 closer in the VRL. I think we've had 1 or 2 that was 0.004 or 5. But yeah, you can't. And that was at Daytona or Talladega. I don't think we've ever had one at just a regular speedway track that close. So that's definitely one for the highlight reels.
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations to Mike Adamson. It's been a minute since he stood atop the podium stand. He was super happy about that one. Anytime you can best Albert Anderson at 99 truck at these bigger tracks in particular, that's saying something about your about how you ran that night.
Oh yeah, Adamson done a good job of being quiet all night. near the front, but not, leading a whole lot of laps. But he was up there when it mattered, and he was able to really masterfully drive those last couple of laps because Anderson did everything he could to get by him and just come up, 9/1000th short.
Yeah, sure. So just a reminder out there in YouTube, during the chat, hit us up on any questions you might have, or we're about to get into the segment 3 and talking about the VRL endurance controversy. We're going to talk a little bit here about the Vanquish Series and the points leaders and who we think is going to win out with only 2 races remaining in this season. So Ricky, with that, Mike Adelson, and this is, mind you, pre-race report, so we don't know what penalties might be handed out, but this is the current point standings as of right now. You got Mike Adelson with 251 points, Albert Anderson with 236 points, Dave Mayberry's in third with 210, Andrew Cawthon is in fourth with 199, and Jonathan Osborne with a 197. So tell me this, Ricky, did this solidify Mike Adelson as a championship favorite, or is it still anybody's to win?
He's definitely the favorite, and Mike knows how to take care of his stuff and finish these races most of the time. But Anderson's not that far behind. You've got Kentucky next. I think that's kind of a wild card, and then you're ending on a plate track, which is always a wild card. So I really think it's probably down to those two, unless they both have a bad night at Kentucky and Mayberry has a really good night. Then maybe there's a 3-truck race, but I think it's down to Adamson and Anderson now.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's super tight right now. And between the two of them, I would think that's a safe bet. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the VRL endurance team controversy, the Nitro team controversy at the 24 Hours of Spa in Belgium this past weekend. And we actually have Dustin Wade in the waiting room. We're going to pull him up in the booth and review a little bit this with him. So, hey, Mr. Dustin Wade, this is Alan and Ricky in the booth. Do you have us, buddy? Hey, Dustin, you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. We got you. Hey, I appreciate you jumping in here. I know that you're busy tonight at work. Thanks for talking to us. We did have a little controversy that happened in Belgium this weekend at the 24 Hours of Spa. You were the driver involved. We're going to go over some of the footage here in just a moment. I don't know if you're able to see it on your phone.
Yeah.
But before we do that, what are your thoughts about how that went down?
To be honest with you, man, it was a bad judgment call, split of the moment decision on my part, right, to go full-blown missile attack on him. But a little bit of the backstory of the situation, man, is several laps prior to that, I had been following that goofy around. I actually ran him down after coming out of the pits, finally ran him down. And was trying to get around him, and he was just a bull in a china shop. Every time I'd try to go into the corner, he'd slam the door on me. So I wasn't trying to really wreck our car, so I just said, to heck with it. I'm going to back off a little bit, let him go away. I eventually just let the 88 go, and then Eaton ended up passing me when he come out of the pits. So I just let him go, and then I was like, all right, well, maybe when the 88 goes around, I'll follow him through, and I'll take my shot then. Well, we see how that ended up.
Yeah, for sure. I had to, open kimono. I was in the car in front of you. We're teammates. We were in the same event together, 2 different cars. And I thought we both made it through clean, honestly. And you just barely got nicked. And we're going to take a look at that right now. And you can comment as we go through this on your screen.
Yeah, I got it here.
Yeah, this is the original footage from our man on the ground there in Belgium who was reporting that overnight. So you see the 88 was coming up here, about to approach as they go downhill into No Name Corner. The 88 was trying to make a clean pass on the outside. Then the 41 here, he just decides he's going to claim the center of the corner. I don't think the 88 was happy. It looks like he deliberately turned right into its left rear. Mm-hmm. And you see he goes around there.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think one of the other reasons I let the 88 go is because I believe at the time of this altercation, he was the leader of the race at the time. I do believe.
Oh, I was not tracking.
So I was
That's
like,
interesting.
okay, I believe he was the leader, or maybe somewhere close to the top 5 somewhere. And I was like, okay, this guy is way ahead of schedule. I'm going to let him go. You know what I mean? And that's why I kind of let the 88 go. And then obviously when you come out of pits there, you also passed me as well. So
Yeah, you can see at the end of this where I have this pause, your car comes into the frame at the last moment here. As you see, the 88 goes around, bends, and then you see the 92 car come to rest right there, facing the wrong direction on the track. And that was important to note because as we go through the rest of this. So now we're going to look from the 41's perspective. Again, he's right in front of the 88, going down into the same, obviously the same incident area, but it looks like he doesn't keep hugging it. He tries to go run this guy wide a little bit. And
and that's the same thing he kept doing to me every time I'd get around him. Every time I'd get around him, he would do the same thing to me. He would close off the route that I needed to go, or he'd try to run me wide, or just, I'm like, this guy is crazy, man. And we had dealt with him earlier in the race also. Several, like Jonathan Osborne had issue with him passing him. Cawthon had issues passing him. He was just a bull in a china shop. The whole team was.
Yeah, it was interesting. You did see him run a defensive line to block the inside, but then decides he wants to run this guy wide. Of note, he doesn't hold his brakes here after he has a contact with the 88. And because he doesn't do that, he ends up just coming back across the track. And this is where he's going to collect you.
Yeah, and that's what made me want to go missile mode.
So no, he's trying to get back underway here. You just turned him into a skewer. Here comes the 92 right here. So I know you were seeing red mist in the cockpit at that point.
Yes, because I obviously seen that unfold in front of me, because I mean obviously this clip you'll see right here, I can clearly see all of that unfold in front of me. So therefore, I was aware of the situation, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna follow Jess right on through here. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna follow him right on through here because I was right behind you, and I thought we'll both make it through as long as the guy would have held his brakes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So we'll watch this now because you had the best perspective. It's not like the two of us couldn't see the door banging that was happening right here. And I was just anticipating it, and we both slowed down. We both made sure we avoided this. But he comes back and gets you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, once he did that, man, I was like, I never seen tire smoke, so I know he never held his brakes. And I was just like, I just went full red mode, and I started yelling in the sim, and Osborne's like, it's all right, it's all right. I'm like, no, this idiot didn't hold his brakes. Boom!
Here's a bird's eye shot. You see me going out of the frame here. You're right behind me. It's just a different angle to take a look at what went on. He definitely had an opportunity to stay off the track here. But, yeah. And then you notice here, you let the innocent go by before locking in on the 41 here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had to let them go. They were innocent bystanders. I couldn't take them out because of him, man. But I was locked on like a heat-seeking missile. I ain't gonna lie. As soon as I seen him come across my windshield, I thought, locked, radar, engage.
Hey, Ricky, you got any questions for our buddy here?
Nope, Dustin. It looks like you done about the same thing most people would do in that situation. So can't say that I blame you. You was able. Maybe the only thing you could have done better is if you tried to do like a 360 and slam him with your back end and just destroy his engine. But other than that,
a little tank slap.
A little tank slapper. But other than that, I mean, that was a pretty direct shot. So congratulations.
Yeah, you get a 10 out of 10 on your aim
point. I really wasn't going to do that. Well, so when I was sitting there, right, and I was like, okay, there's a bunch of cars coming. And then all of a sudden, the 41 comes across my perspective, and I was like, nah, it's over with. Gas engaged. Wham.
Yeah, you hit the NOS pedal there. So
I only had 5 minutes of repair. I only had 5 minutes of repair. So, I mean, I think I won out of that situation.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking considering you hit him with the front end like that. Hey, but in the chat, you got Josh Bittner says, hey, man, you know it's bad if Osborne was the voice of reason in that moment.
Yes. Yeah. Osborne's like, it's okay, buddy. It's okay, buddy. I said, the heck it is. That guy didn't hold his brakes. He's like, I know. Wah, wah, wah. And I hit him. He's like, oh, gosh, I can't believe you did that.
Well, hey, buddy, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy. I know you're working tonight and everything. Thanks for talking to us. You got any closing thoughts on this deal or anybody you want to shout out?
Nah, I mean, shout out you guys for everything you guys do. Obviously, for continuing to put on the league and all these broadcasts. Thank you, Ricky, for always being in the booth. You guys are fantastic. Other than that, man, I ain't got a whole lot, man. I know I won't do that again. I'm gonna be cooler head prevailed hopefully next time, and I don't want to do that again just because I don't want to put the bad name on our wonderful league that we have going on.
Oh man, sometimes we just emotion gets the best of us. We do appreciate you and look forward to the next endurance race. Maybe Petit Le Mans.
Yes,
I think it's one of the next ones. Yeah. And Lori
Cannot
says,
wait, man. I hope to see you guys.
"Oh yeah, we're going to definitely do it again." And Lori in the chat says, "Hey, thank you, Wade. Appreciate you coming out and talking with us tonight."
Yes. No problem. Thank you guys for doing this. It's fantastic.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
You as well. See you guys.
See ya. So that was Dustin Wade involved in the controversy at the 24 Hours of Spa this past weekend. Don't know that I would have done it any different, Ricky, if I was in that car in that moment.
No, I mean, sometimes it just catches you in the heat of the moment. Now this was against people that are not in our regular league. So I'm not a league representative, but I would say this. I probably wouldn't do that in the VRL or the Vanquish series because I doubt Lori would be as nice about it as iRacing is going to be to Dustin for the little mishap in the 24-hour race.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you won't see that in either one of our series, but it was a fun event. We had a lot of bad luck really on both sides, on both our cars for that event, but we still persevered and stuck it out, and I appreciate all the drivers who did that. But so hey, Ricky, we're going to move on to segment 4, Beyond the Matrix, and we're going to talk about real world NASCAR. However, before we hit up these topics, I want to remind the audience to hit us up in the chat as we're discussing these topics. Also, if you like what you hear and you enjoy this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you don't miss any episode of the Vigilante Report. And with that, Ricky, we're going to get into SVG. That's Shane Van Gisbergen. I think I said Sean earlier. Shane Van Gisbergen. Road course dominance, road and street course dominance. 3 road and street courses in the last month. He's won them all from the pole position. And it was SVG treating the road courses like his personal playground. I mean, how do you even defend against someone who's out breaking the physics rules?
It's pretty hard to do. And, I don't know a lot of people, but I know enough people inside the sport where I've heard a couple of things. One thing about Van Gisbergen, and he is doing between 50 and 100 brake bias adjustments a lap. None of the other drivers are even in that, even close to that stratosphere. And I know that NASCAR's looking into it. Brake bias is one thing you're allowed to adjust in car, but he's doing it so much, it has caught the ire of some of the other team owners and some of the other drivers who are saying, we don't want to learn how to drive completely different just to keep up with this guy. And I think NASCAR's paying attention to that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow can limit how many adjustments you're allowed to make per lap, maybe as soon as Watkins Glen.
Ricky, I mean, I had not heard that, and I'm actually disappointed in NASCAR and the teams for even saying anything about that. So if you can't beat them, you want to handicap them. That doesn't make sense to me. And in the spirit of competition, if you got somebody who's just that gifted at what he's doing, you can see everything. All the teams can see his brake, his throttle, everything he's doing. Maybe not the brake bias in particular. I think so. Otherwise, they wouldn't know about the 100 or so adjustments. But that just doesn't sit well with me. Does that sit well with you that they're going to handicap this guy because they can't beat him?
I'm kind of mixed on it just because, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if you're just that much better than everybody, it's, they're trying to handicap you. But it does seem excessive to try to learn how to do that for a couple of races a year. But, now we're up to 6, maybe 7 road courses a year. Maybe they need to learn how to do it. And the other flip side of that is I also know that the amount of money Trackhouse spent on Van Gisbergen's road course car, the one he's been running and winning with, is more money than some teams spend on like going to Daytona for the 500. They've thrown all their money into this one car. It's got some tricks, kind of like the old Jeff Gordon Jurassic Park car. Nothing outside of NASCAR's rule book, but I'm sure that they have found every gray area they can, and they say that this car may have $3 million of development just in this one car he's racing. But hey, if you go out there and you win 3 races, I guess spending $3 million for one car don't look so stupid.
No, I mean, you're playing to your strengths there, right? You know that he's a phenomenal talent behind the wheel for road courses. How is this any different than you got the likes of, the 5 car or the 24 car winning 3 oval races? They're not winning the road courses. We're going to handicap those drivers so Van Gisbergen can catch up with him on the ovals. I just don't understand it. Doesn't seem right, but that's one man's opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. NASCAR's always going to try to make it as equal as they could. I'm pretty sure Buddy Baker said it best back in the day. If I could put 40 cars wide across the finish line for the last lap, that's what they'd do. But it just don't work that way. There's always going to be a car better than the others.
Right. And then, so I was just checking out the chat here. We got Lori saying that Vanquish is going to Kentucky this Friday. Yep, they are. And then you have Dylan Bryant. He's saying SVG is an amazing talent. They have the same opportunity, they being the other drivers, to learn as he did. I concur with that, Dylan. And it makes him upset that so he's kind of, it seems like Dylan's in the same camp I'm with. Yeah. Did I say Kansas? Did I say Kansas? Sorry. Did I say Kansas? Sorry, hope I didn't. Kentucky's not Kansas. It's going to Kentucky Friday. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, the one thing is he's coming from a series where that was from the Supercar series where they ran strictly road courses, and I guess he was used to being able to make these that amount of adjustments a lap and still be able to shift and do everything else. So it's just up to these other guys to catch up to that. And if they don't make a rules change, then I'm sure by next year these other guys are all going to be making 100 brake bias adjustments a lap too.
Hey man, they got the same opportunity to study what he's doing. Now, still, I think there's a feel to it they're probably going to be missing because he's done this his whole life. But hey, I would rather see the other competitors try to do that rather than to see them handicap this driver just because he has a phenomenal talent that they don't quite measure up to yet. But with that, on the flip side of this, yes, I'm supporting SVGs and being able to make these changes and not be precluded from it. Let's talk about the playoff system in general. The debate on that we've talked about a few times, here within the series. But last season, for instance, Joey Logano grabs the title with the worst average finish in NASCAR history, and has got a lot of people, screaming for change. Are you in that same camp?
I think that they all have the same opportunity and they know what sandbox they play in. I don't love the point system the way it is, but if they make the points legitimately and they get in and they're all playing by the same rules. So if he wins that way, I mean, I'm not a big Joey Logano fan, but yeah, he won the title. I'll give him his props for playing the system as it was last year. Now, I know there's people all the time says, well, if the points was like it was in 1998, then this guy would have won the champion. No. They wouldn't have, because they'd have been racing differently through the last part of the year. Maybe they wouldn't have took some of the chances they did. That would never be the same. If they went back to a straight point system, you can't look at what the points would have been under the old system because every race they would race differently. So, they're all playing by the same rules. So whatever the system is, I may not love it, but it kind of is what it is. And Logano was the most legitimate champion there could be last year under that set of rules that they ran under.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you there that the drivers and the teams approach the playoffs a very specific way based on the rules they have that year. I'm just an advocate. It looks like similar to Dylan Bryant in the chat there of the old point system. Me Motorsports is not sticking ball. But if we can't I don't think we'll ever go back to what I would desire. But I would say that there is a better way than having like one race determine your champion at the very end as well. There needs to be a larger sample size. Kind of what we did in the VRL Premiere Series. We went to a 3-race final round instead of, and maybe NASCAR's planning, I know they're planning on changes, or at least it's speculated in the media, they're planning on changes for 2026 season. Perhaps something similar where they have like a wild card, very short round up front, maybe one race, wild card round before moving on. And I forget, I think it's 6 races or 5 races for the final determination of the champion. I would love to see that, because that's probably as close as I'm ever going to get back to a point system to determine what I would consider a more legitimate champion. Not to say that any champion is not legitimate.
Yeah, I think a larger sample size at the end would be good. Maybe they reset with the 10 races to go, and they have the playoff points and the points for the wins, and then you weed it down with 5 races to go and reset and have 4 or 5 and let them run it out the 5 races. That's probably what I would do, because I know they're not going to go back to the old system. So that's just an idea that I have. But I've also saw that one of the reasons NASCAR was doing this this playoff like bracketed thing that they're doing right now was the test run for possibly next year for the first round or 2 rounds of the playoffs being one-on-one drivers against each other, and then moving through to like 4 or 6 at the end. And I absolutely don't want that. I think that would be horrendous.
Ricky, I don't know where you're getting your information from, man, but that is not making me happy. That's just, I hope you are wrong on that one, and that they don't even attempt that. This seems just more of what we're not looking for. Wow.
It seems like that's the way NASCAR goes sometimes, though. If it's what you don't want, that's what they're going to do.
Right. If it doesn't make sense, hey, we're going with that. But let's move on. You're depressing me. Let's move on to Ty Gibbs' pit road incident this past weekend at Sonoma. NASCAR's already deemed this, hey, this is a non-incident. It falls within the rule books. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. And looking at the replays that I saw, you can go through that first pit box as long as you're outside that edge corner there. You can see marked with the orange line. However, if you look at a couple of different pit stops, you can see on that particular one that he definitely took up more of that pit box than he had been on the previous stop, at least. And so for those, I just want to kind of set the scene for those who haven't seen this in the audience, or may have missed Sunday's race. But Ty Gibbs was bumped out of the groove going into turn 1 at Sonoma by an RFK driver, specifically Chris Buescher. And then when Gibbs went in for his next pit stop, he initially appeared to perhaps deliberately run through that box, the previous box, which belonged to Buescher's RFK teammate, Brad Keselowski. So same team, different driver. But he appeared to perhaps run through it more with the team kind of standing there on the box as a way to show his displeasure. He ended up brushing Danger Close to one of the crew members, I think, maybe grazing the tire and everything. How, the flip side of this, Ricky, is that the RFK team was maybe a little quick to jump out in that pit box to get to their driver, Brad Keselowski, who was also coming in directly behind Ty Gibbs. So I can kind of see it from both ways. There was a little bit of a scuffle on pit road between the two crews once both cars had left. However, is this fair or foul?
I will never defend Ty Gibbs just because of some of the things I know about him. But I will say, he didn't do anything against the rule book, I guess, according to NASCAR. And it's almost a gentleman's agreement, I guess. The guys are going to jump out onto pit road. You don't want to hit people. If you're mad at somebody, take it up with them. Don't run over their pit crew, guys. They didn't have anything to do with it. But really what irritated me more than anything and just showed me that Ty Gibbs is just an incredible butthead and he's not changed at all is the fact that when they interviewed him after the race, I just happened to still have it on. I was walking through the living room when they talked to him. He never even apologized, and he said what he said with such an attitude that you could tell that he didn't care. And that would make me madder than anything if I was on the other pit crew. It's like, all you had to do is say, I've got a little closer than I meant to or whatever. I wouldn't hit anybody on purpose, but he didn't do that. And that's because that's just not the kind of guy he is. And I don't know, you can say he's a kid. I've had plenty of friends, cousins, aunts, uncles in the military when they was 18 years old out serving our country. And, they didn't get called kids. And he's 22, 23 years old. He's not a kid. He's a man child is what he is.
No, I don't disagree with you there. And he's got a history of reckless driving on pit road. In fact, I think it was 2 years ago, Ricky, at Texas Motor Speedway. where he deliberately turned left into another car as they made their way down pit road. And, the one place you don't want to risk that kind of thing is on pit road, where you have crew members all over that road, unprotected, out there with 3,500-pound racing machines, tires. I think a few weeks back, I forget which crew it was, one car comes in, hits the tire of his crew member, knocks it into the next pit box, into the other tire changer going around his car. I think messed up his wrist, maybe broke a couple of ribs. So we know how dangerous it is on pit road from all these cars flying around, tires, fuel catching on fire in the pit box. We don't need somebody like Ty Gibbs sitting there and just making it more dangerous unnecessarily for them. And before I give it back to you, Mike Everidge in there saying, didn't he spin a car on pit road on the Xfinity Series? I think he did. I just don't remember when that was, Ricky.
Yeah, actually, I don't. I remember it, but I don't want to talk out of turn and make it worse than it is for him. I remember him doing something, but I don't remember when it was.
I'll see. Mike's got a question. Everidge does. Oh, he said, didn't he spin on pit road? Yeah. We're answering that. Yeah, I just don't remember when it was. I know he had his issues in there too. I remember one particular race where he just wrecks everybody for the win. I want to say it was at Martinsville, but anyway, Gibbs, he's got a long way to go. Yes, right. It was his teammate at the time. I just don't know. I expected more out of him, I guess, knowing who Coach Gibbs is and who, but this is a silver spoon kid maybe who just never had to work for anything too hard, and so takes it for granted. But here's hoping he matures. All right, so Ricky, next topic, NASCAR. And for those of you not out there or not familiar or following this, NASCAR is being sued by the teams of 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. And there was an update this past, either last week, but anyway, I know it affects the teams in NASCAR coming up tomorrow, potentially. I have heard subsequently that 2311 and Front Row are trying to file another emergency injunction, but I don't know if they're going to be successful. So anyway, fireworks this week, the initial injunction for NASCAR to reclaim 2311 and Front Row Motorsports charters because they didn't sign the charter agreement before the beginning of the season. We could see these organizations as early as Dover this weekend racing unchartered, which means they get less prize money. They're not automatically in. If you have more than 36 cars show up for the race, or 40 cars it is, they have to qualify in on time, which I don't know that these organizations would have a problem doing that. But still, the less, smaller prize money coming in, that could hurt your sponsorship and everything else. So anyway, additionally, the reports indicate that NASCAR, if they are successful in reclaiming these charters by tomorrow, their intent is to immediately turn around and resell them to other teams. Now, that's 6 charters that could be multi-million-dollar charters could be on the market, Ricky. Do you think we're going to see that happen? Do you think we're going to see more courtroom drama as we go forward? And ultimately, this trial set for the actual antitrust trial set for January, do you think there's going to be a backdoor deal before we actually get to trial that would benefit everyone?
Yes. There'll be some sort of a deal that'll benefit everybody. I think if NASCAR goes to sell the charters, I don't know I really don't know what would happen. It could be a situation. It's like Farmer Brown back in the day when the government come to try to get his farmland, and they would go to the courthouse and they'd try to sell it, and nobody would bid more than $1 to let him get it back. So maybe the other teams are they don't want to stir the pot too much, or maybe somebody would swoop in that thinks now would be a really good time to buy a NASCAR charter just to maybe turn back around and sell it back to them eventually. I don't know. This is one time I really don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, there's one thing about these, injunctions. I think NASCAR's probably going to win the injunction, but maybe the smart play for them is to not turn around and sell them, because I think when it goes to trial, if it goes to trial for antitrust and the claim that NASCAR is a monopoly, when you look at they own the entire series, it's a privately owned organization, by the way. They own the entire series. They own most of the tracks they race on. I don't know how it's going to be viewed or how that might come out ultimately if it goes to to trial. NASCAR may be on the losing end of that one, but if they do lose, I imagine this is going to dramatically change the structure and product that we as fans are going to see on television.
Yeah, you just as much as we want some things in NASCAR to change, the one thing you don't want is like an IRL split from IndyCar situation, because all that would do is destroy stock car racing in America.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So with that, folks, we're going to move on to our final topic here for our Outside the Matrix. And that's going to be the playoff bubble watch for the NASCAR Cup Series in particular. So over to you, Ricky, to kind of, and unfortunately, I didn't have time to get a graphic up on this, but if you could go over who's kind of sitting on the bubble there and your thoughts, or who you think is going to make it in on points.
Yeah, with 6 races to go, Bubba Wallace has the final playoff spot right now, +3 over Ryan Preece. Big movers, Kyle Busch gained 9 points at Sonoma, now down only 37. Alex Bowman dropped 7. He's sitting at +32. So you've got 12 drivers locked in by wins. Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, SVG, Christopher Bell, Byron, Blaney, Cindric, Logano, Briscoe, Chastain, Berry, and Chase Elliott. So you've got Tyler Reddick, 149 points above the bubble. Chris Buescher, 34. Alex Bowman, 32. Bubba Wallace is +3. That would be the last 4 of the 16 to get in right now. Ryan Preece, -3. Kyle Busch, -37. Allmendinger, -50. Ty Gibbs, -60. So you've got 6 races to go. You've got 12 guys locked in already. And we've got Dover, Indianapolis, Iowa, Watkins Glen, Richmond, and Daytona. So I think out of these last 6 races that we've got, you're going to see at least 2 more, maybe 3 more first-time winners, which would probably put it to where there's only going to be really 1 bubble spot up for grabs. And I would expect Ryan Preece as consistent as he's running to get in either with a win or he'll just points his way in. And Kyle Busch has kind of scrambled back, and he's really good at Watkins Glen. He was always good at Indianapolis on the oval, and he'll be strong at Daytona, him and Austin Dillon. So I have a feeling there's going to be a couple of guys sneak in, and there's only going to be 1 guy that points his way in. I would expect Tyler Reddick to win one of these last 6 races. So it's tough to tell who all is going to be in or out, but it will definitely. That's what NASCAR wants, though. They want drama. They want people to be. This 6 race stretch is really important, just because it's the last few races before the playoffs start.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think Tyler Reddick's probably one of the ones, maybe even Chris Buescher. I mean, he won, I want to say 3 races last season, hasn't won this season yet, but been in contention multiple times. But of those 4 above the cut line, I would say probably at least 2 are going to, I know you're saying 3, but I think 2. And if I'm going to pick 2, I'm going to probably pick, it's really tough. I would say Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick, because Chris Buescher kind of been a little inconsistent this year. I don't think Wallace is going to make it in on points. He's got razor thin margin right now. We got road courses coming up later on with short tracks ahead as well, and it's not exactly his comfort zone. He's probably going to need a win and fast. And an interesting note I saw the other day that I did not realize that Bubba Wallace has never won a regular season race. Did you know that? He's always won in the playoffs. Very many,
so that in the playoffs. Yeah, I guess that does make sense. And a guy that you don't even see in that top those bubble contenders is Michael McDowell. And Michael McDowell is really good at Watkins Glen. He had a chance to win a road course earlier this year. He was fast at Sonoma before he had whatever issue he had this past weekend.
He was winning Chicago.
I wouldn't. Yeah, he was. I wouldn't doubt that Michael McDowell could sneak through and win Watkins Glen and totally upset the points.
Yeah, there's no doubt there. Well, folks, that covers our Outside the Matrix segment. Just talk a little bit of real world NASCAR. We're all fans. Ultimately, is what got us into this. So we want to keep that going for you. And now we're going to move on to the admin notes section. So these are from Lori, our league matriarch. And we'll talk about VRL first. So she said, great ending to season 11. She goes on to congratulate me. Thanks, baby. I love you for getting my 4th Cup championship. And way to exit. Yeah, that's a mic drop moment for me, Ricky. I really wanted that one, and I was happy to get it, man. And something told me it wasn't going to happen because I wanted it too bad.
Yeah, usually when you're trying too hard, sometimes it don't always pay off. But he was able to come out on top, and that's definitely what you call a mic drop moment.
Yeah, I was there for it. So, and couldn't believe it. But anyway, so going on to Jonathan Osborne, congratulations, she says to him for winning the first ever contender championship. He's one of the OGs from the days that we began this league. Yeah, I mean, great job, Jonathan. We wanted to have this basically inside the championship, and you came out on top for the first one. I hope that this gains momentum. We thought we were going to see that as far as, these guys really duking it out for that first person who didn't make it into the championship 12. Your thoughts on that, Ricky?
Yeah, Osborne's been with us this whole time, and he's always been consistent. He's had a chance to win the actual title a couple of times, so it's good to see him pop through and get the top 12. I remember that Josh Bittner and I was running we were hosting a race back when VRL was just getting ready to start, and I think it was Kansas, and we found Osborne in there, and he apologized. He said, "Guys, I'm running on a controller." He said, "I'm sorry, I'm a little twitchy." And me and Josh were in our own channel, and we were talking like, "This guy's pretty fast, but running on a controller, I don't know." And then we find out after the race the reason he's running on a controller, and I thought, man, that's unbelievable. So Osborne, buddy, we love you. It's always a pleasure to race you on the track, and I still can't believe you do what you do.
Yeah, it's no doubt. That's from all of us, buddy. So congratulations again to Jonathan Osborne. So her next note here is season 12. She said the first race, 37 drivers, 0 cautions. She says she's extremely pleased and appreciates the VRL family and what you guys do every week out there. She wanted me to also add in here for the VRL series, she has added a comp caution to all road courses for season 12. I think she's going to do that right down the middle, or she's going to set it and announce it before the race. But she wanted to spice things up a bit for those road courses. So for those drivers, if you didn't know, now you know. And then moving on to the Vanquish Series, she's got a couple of notes here. So race 9 at Kentucky will be the second and final dash for cash. Excuse me, if I can speak tonight. Dash for cash race this season. So she had one more. She had not announced it yet. So now you know. Race 9. This Friday at Kentucky, dash for cash race. She's very happy with this league and even invited 4 additional people from Vanquish to join the Premier League on Wednesday nights. And she said so far it's working out beautifully. She says second note is that she still hasn't decided what route we will go next season, but it won't be strictly big tracks only. That's for the Vanquish series. She says I think she wants to mix it up a little bit more. So more to follow for the Vanquish series on what's in store for you as we go into season 2. And then Ricky, a couple of special shout outs she has here. And I hadn't read these before the thing. So she's shouting me out again to me for taking home. Let's see. I got to read this. To my husband, taught her into running my hobby. I did. I'm the smartest man in iRacing, Ricky. I got to tell you, I don't feel guilty about spending time racing or doing this kind of stuff because she's right in the trenches with me. It's been over 5 years now with the OGs we have in this league and the community we've built. We're really proud of that. It's all come for a full circle now. And today she said we celebrated 800 views for broadcasting season 12. That's right, folks. If you didn't know already, and I think you know, Ricky, we have over 800 views for the first race. Now, that's not much in the grand scheme of things. When you consider most of our races have been getting like 130, that's kind of a breakout race. And I don't know what was different about it. Maybe it's just a level competition or we're starting to get traction. But 800 views on that first race of season 12's race 1 for the invite-only league. With a waiting list, VRL Vanquish and VRN is our baby, and she wouldn't change it. So what do you think about that first broadcast, Ricky?
Yeah, 800 is really cool. I mean, I see some other broadcasters that's been doing it a long time that maybe have their, when they're having a big Indy 500 or the Daytona's going on and they get their big broadcast, and we had more, views than they've had on some of their biggest broadcasts that's been out for months or years, which is really cool, and appreciate everybody that's tuned in. That's a good place to start.
Yeah, we don't get this without people tuning in, and also our league members making sure that they hype up the league as well. Now, I don't want to get too excited, Ricky. 800 on one race. I don't know if we're going to replicate that anytime soon. I'm just happy that we got to achieve it once. I think it'll probably take a while before it becomes a consistent thing.
Yeah, but you never know with YouTube's algorithm. It just depends on what they like, or what they're liking at that moment. But they liked something enough to help us get to 800, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. And then finally, for the special shout outs, she wanted to shout out the VRN endurance teams for participating in the 24 Hours of Spa. Both teams did well and pulled an all-nighter minus Eaton's nap, she says. But hey, we're used to that by now. She's laughing about it because we did have to call and wake up Eaton. At one point, I had done 4 stints in a row, Ricky, and it's like 50 to 55 minute stints. So it was I had to get out of the chair, man. So she was calling around. Finally, she got in touch with Craig. Craig, good enough, was able to get in there and give me some relief. And then Eaton was right in there behind him. That's what happens. You're so tired in the middle of the night. If you close your eyes for a moment, good luck waking up.
Yep, you're done. You're out. And Eaton must have been sleeping like a baby.
He was out. That's why she posted that one meme you saw with the monkey sleeping. But anyway, hey Ricky, that wraps it up for this week for the Vigilante Report. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No, just look forward to Sonoma tomorrow. I really look forward to the fact that we have the competition caution, because I think that is going to bring a ton of strategy into that race that some guys may not be thinking of, and some guys are probably already thinking about what they're going to do and how they're going to use that to their advantage.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna change up the complexion of that race, and we're here for it, right? It's going to be great for us. I don't know about you, but I'm enjoying this booth thing. A little less stress for me, a little more entertainment.
Oh yeah, nope. Just have to come in and make sure the microphone's working on Wednesday instead of doing all these iRacing updates and making sure the wheel's calibrated, and then trying to do these practice laps to see how you're doing on gas and tire wear and all that. All I have to do is talk, and I'm good at that. So no pressure.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, before we close up for tonight, Dylan in the chat, hey guys, thanks. Or excuse me, 800 is great. Congratulations. And then Albert Anderson out there says, great job tonight, guys. Hey, Albert, thanks, buddy. We appreciate everything you do for us. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you on the track tomorrow. We know how much you love road courses, buddy. So, hey, Ricky, with that, we're going to wrap this up. And I just wanted, before I do, I wanted to thank my smoking hot wife, Lori, for everything she does for me personally and for all the members of VRL Nation. We love you, Lori. Well, Nation, that does it for this edition of the Vigilante Report. You've been briefed. Stay sharp, stay fast, stay vigilante, and we'll see you on the track tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with round 2 of the Vigilante Racing League Premiere Series at Sonoma Raceway. Good night.